It was supposed to be a triumphant new beginning, the launch of her solo career after a devastating fall from grace. But the excitement around Soojin's return was fading fast, and the reason was shocking. Ticket sales for her tour were catastrophically low, with almost 20 shows being canceled. The venues were too big, the prices were too high, and the promotion was almost non-existent. Everyone was asking the same question: what happened? How did a once-beloved idol from one of K-pop's most successful groups end up here, with her career seemingly collapsing before it could even properly restart? To understand this, we have to go back to the moment that shattered everything. A scandal so intense it forced her out of her group and made her a pariah in the industry she loved. It all began in February 2021, a month that would become one of the most chaotic in recent K-pop history. The internet was flooded with accusations against various celebrities, and the industry was on edge. For Soojin, it started with an anonymous online post. Someone known only as A claimed that their younger sibling had been mistreated by Soojin during their middle school years. The allegations were severe, not just typical schoolyard drama, but claims of Soojin initiating fights, stealing money and uniforms, and engaging in underage smoking and drinking with older friends who rode motorcycles. For an idol with a clean and elegant image, this was a direct attack on her very persona. Cube Entertainment, her agency at the time, quickly denied the claims, and most fans rallied behind her, criticizing the accuser for the lack of concrete evidence. But this was just the beginning. The situation escalated dramatically when a second accuser, B, emerged, supported by their older sister, who claimed Soojin had made their siblings' life a living nightmare, forcing them to run errands and sending cruel group texts labeling them an outcast. The real turning point, however, came when actress Soojin entered the fray. She posted a cryptic message on her Instagram story that sent the Korean internet into a frenzy. "None of your excuse," she wrote. While she didn't name names, the timing right after Cube's statement in support of Soojin led everyone to connect the dots. Here was a respected public figure seemingly confirming the rumors. The court of public opinion was now in session, and the verdict was turning against Soojin. Feeling cornered and with her company's response seeming inadequate, Soojin took the unprecedented step of posting a lengthy personal statement on her Instagram. She admitted to some past behavior, like having smoked a few times, but she vehemently denied ever physically or mentally bullying anyone. She explained her side of the story with A, recalling a fight over a broken promise, and stated she had no memory of the events described by B. Most strikingly, she addressed Soojin directly, claiming they had never even interacted and asking the actress to clarify her comments. This bold move sparked a wave of support from former elementary school classmates who came forward to defend Soojin's character, with one even writing a long post debunking Soojin's implications. But in the court of public perception, the damage was done. The narrative had been set. Cube Entertainment, known for its often controversial and heavy-handed management, placed Soojin on an indefinite hiatus. She was cut out of music videos and removed from upcoming group activities. For months, fans waited for a resolution, hoping the truth would come out and their favorite member would return. But then, in August 2021, Cube dropped a bombshell. They announced that Soojin would be leaving I-DLE permanently. The announcement cited her own earlier promise to leave the group if any accusations were proven true. But for fans, it felt like a betrayal. The police investigation was still ongoing. There had been no final verdict. It seemed like Cube had chosen the easiest way out, sacrificing an artist to quell the controversy rather than fighting for her. Fans were furious, creating petitions with hundreds of thousands of signatures and flooding social media with messages of support for Soojin and anger towards Cube. The situation felt eerily familiar to how the company had previously handled the Hyuna and I-DLE dating scandal, kicking out two of their biggest stars for breaking company rules. It painted a picture of a company quick to discard artists at the first sign of trouble. Soojin, the girl who had persuaded her father to let her pursue her dreams, was now out in the cold, her career in ruins. For 2 years, Soojin disappeared from the public eye. It was a radio silence that led many to believe her career was over for good. In South Korea, where school violence accusations are taken with extreme seriousness, the public boycott was widespread. Brands erased her from their pages, and it seemed she had been completely blacklisted by the industry. But her international fan base never gave up. Then in 2023, a glimmer of hope appeared. Soojin opened a personal Instagram account, and her first post, a simple photo of her in a white hat and sunglasses, broke the internet. She gained over 1 million followers in just a few hours, proving that her support overseas was still massive. This was the first step in a carefully calculated comeback. Later that year, news broke that she had signed with a new, tiny agency called BRD Entertainment Entertainment and was preparing for her solo debut. The news was met with skepticism. Why would any Korean company take a risk on her? But for fans, it was a miracle. Her solo debut with Agassi in late 2023 was a quiet success internationally, topping iTunes charts in several countries. But the cracks were already showing. Reports surfaced that she had canceled all domestic music show promotions in South Korea. Some speculated she was being blacklisted. Others thought her new agency was simply protecting her from the inevitable backlash. When she did appear at fan meetings, fans were shocked by her drastic weight loss, worrying that the immense pressure and stress were taking a severe toll on her health. Her agency's strategy seemed confused. They were booking her for a major North American tour, but the promotion was minimal. When the tour was announced, fans immediately noticed the problems. The venues were far too large for her current fan base, and the ticket prices were shockingly high, with front row seats approaching $500. The data was brutal. Months before the tour was set to begin, some cities like Dallas had sold less than 10% of their ticket. It was a disaster waiting to happen, and it did. The tour was canceled, then revived under a new name, only to be canceled again. In less than a year, over 17 of her shows were axed. Fans were left blaming BRD Entertainment for what they saw as catastrophic mismanagement, a lack of promotion, poor choice of venues, and exorbitant pricing that alienated even her most loyal supporters. The comeback dream was rapidly turning into a nightmare. While Soojin was fighting for her solo career, the group she left behind, I-DLE, was soaring to new heights. Their first comeback without her, Tomboy, was a massive hit, achieving a perfect all-kill and silencing all doubters who thought the group couldn't survive without her. Their subsequent comebacks like NXT and Queen Card broke even more records, solidifying them as one of the top girl groups of their generation. This success, however, fueled a different kind of controversy among fans. Supporters of Soojin began to scrutinize the group's every move for hidden messages. They pointed to 6 heart-shaped balloons in the Tomboy video, a red crossed-out circle on an album cover between Soyeon and Yuchi's names, and an animated blonde with a mole in the I-DLE video that resembled Soojin. They theorized that the members were sending secret tributes to their former friend, keeping her memory alive. This theory seemed to gain more traction when leader Soyeon, during a solo performance at the 2024 Mama Awards, explicitly rapped, "In 2021 you said, do you think you'll make it without Soojin? Contracts and companies, I said, I'm going to take care of it." The crowd was stunned. For Soojin's fans, this was a powerful acknowledgement of their shared struggle. But for others, it felt messy and sparked debate. Was Soyeon throwing shade, or was she simply stating the facts of their incredible against-all-odds success? The final twist in this ongoing saga came in 2024 when I-DLE, after renewing their contracts with Cube, announced a major rebrand. They officially removed the G from their name, becoming simply I-DLE. Along with this, they released a special album featuring re-recorded versions of their old hits without Soojin's vocals. Her lines were redistributed among the 5 remaining members. While the agency stated the rebrand was about moving beyond gender labels, a sentiment the group had long championed, the internet exploded. For many international fans, this felt like the ultimate erasure. After years of what they perceived as subtle nods and tributes, this was a clear signal that Soojin's chapter was permanently closed. The narrative online turned toxic, with some fans accusing the members, especially Soyeon, of jealousy and of intentionally trying to wipe Soojin from their history. They pointed to a dramatic teaser featuring a coffin with what looked like a G on it, interpreting it as a dark metaphor for Soojin's career. Defenders of the group fired back, arguing that it was time to move on, that the rebrand was about their own artistic evolution, and that the re-recorded songs simply reflected how they had been performing live for years. They urged fans to stop clinging to the past and to support Soojin in her solo endeavors instead.